Kuzampo, you're watching Bhutan This Week, our weekly news magazine program. I'm Kilyangden. Our top stories. His Majesty the King and Her Majesty the Gelton paid respects to His Majesty the late King Bhumibol Adulyadej at the Grand Palace in Bangkok. DNA samples to be analyzed in Bhutan. And UNICEF's Goodwill Ambassador, Amir Khan, advocates against malnutrition in Bhutan. His Majesty the King and Her Majesty the Gelton paid personal respects to His Majesty the late King Bhumibol Adulyadej on Sunday. His Majesty King Bhumibol Adulyadej passed away on 13th October at the age of 88.
His Majesty the King is the first head of the state to pay respects to His Majesty the late King Bhumibol Adulyadej. Their Majesties and His Royal Highness the Gyaltsen arrived in Bangkok yesterday. Back home, the national flag has been flown at half-mast for 3 days until today. But offering of prayers and butter lamps will continue in memory of His Majesty the late King Bhumibol Adulyadej until Thursday. According to a Thai newspaper, the Royal Household Bureau announced that mourners will be allowed to pay their respects to the royal urn containing the body of His Majesty, the late King Bhumibol Adulyadej, starting from 28th of October. Religious rites are taking place daily at the Grand Palace in Bangkok, where the urn is resting for 100 days. Sringzam, BBS News.
DNA samples will now be tested in the country from next year. The forensic department with the National Referral Hospital will be equipped with new machines to offer standard and expected service. Without a single diagnostic facility today, most of the medical legal opinions are based on presumptions.
Today, the forensic department does not have diagnostic facilities like DNA testing, which is required for any standard medical legal service. Medical legal is something that involves both medical and legal aspects.
They have kept around 7 million nultram to establish forensic laboratory facilities. So basically in this year 2016-17 budget, we are going to start forensic toxicology lab and forensic DNA facilities lab. And by doing DNA analysis, we can actually identify the correct perpetrator of sexual assault or any other crime. And also in case of paternity dispute, we can identify the right father and exonerate the person who are accused but not the right father.
At the moment, the DNA samples are sent to India and Sri Lanka for analysis. Hospitals' annual report says the result not only takes time to reach Bhutan, but also most of the reports were not useful due to deterioration of specimens during transportation. But by June next year, accurate forensic reports might be available to public. Sringzam, BBS News.
Speaking to the students in Thimphu, the UNICEF's Regional Goodwill Ambassador, Amir Khan, highlighted on the importance of the first 1,000 days of a child to meet nutritional needs. The Goodwill Ambassador, who is also a film actor, producer and director, was on a 2-day visit to the country.
The Goodwill Ambassador Amir Khan said, if effective interventions are taken during the first 1,000 years of a child, it can prevent malnutrition and drastically reduce the prevalence of stunting. In Bhutan, although stunting among children under 5 has decreased from 33.2% in 2010 to 21.2% last year, it still means 1 in 5 children under 5 remain stunted.
If we do not take care in the first 2 years, the 1,000-day window, then the amount of damage that has already been done is very difficult to rectify, almost impossible to rectify. The second most important step in that 1,000-day is the breastfeeding, that for the first 6 months from the time the baby is born, the baby should be given only mother's milk. And after the first 6 months, for the next 1.5 years, till the baby turns 2, you add certain healthy, fresh food.
Following the meeting, Amir Khan also tried his hands on Kuro, one of the traditional Bhutanese games. Later in the evening, the Goodwill Ambassador met with Prime Minister Tring Tobgay and took part in a program organized by Royal Institute for Governance and Strategic Studies. Amir Khan was appointed as the UNICEF's Goodwill Ambassador for South Asia in 2014. He'll leave for India tomorrow. Srindama Gyaltsin, BBS News.
For the first time, a 20-kilogram clouded leopard was rescued from Mendegang in Punakha. The leopard, about 7 years old, was trapped in a snare in a kitchen garden on Sunday morning. The leopard was released into the forest as it was unharmed. Wildlife rescue officials said it is an endangered species. Clouded leopards are found across Southeast Asia and the Himalayas. Lamoi Zinka Dungkak administration in Dagana has taken a private construction company to the court for failing to construct a flood protection wall along the bank of Sunkosh River. The 350-meter-long flood protection wall, worth 16 million nutram, is government-funded.
This is where the walls should be standing today, but it is nowhere to be seen. The Dungkak said the construction was supposed to begin by December 2014. The construction was delayed after the contractor was not able to procure factory-fabricated gabion box as required. The Dungkak said the contractor also failed to submit certificate from Bhutan Standards Bureau. But the contractor said he began the work on time. Since the factory-fabricated gabion box was not available, he started fabricating one at the site which was not accepted by the Dungkak. When the discussion prolonged, the swollen Sunkosh River last year washed away the construction materials, including machinery, further delaying the work. Since the Dungkak saw no progress even after repeated notifications, the contract was terminated. And now it is the local residents living along the banks who are at the losing end.
My land is now slowly being eroded by the river. The government tried to construct the wall along the river and fill with mud. We informed the Gewog and filled up a form, but later when inquired, they told me that our documents are lost.
We saw many machines lying idle at the site. They said they don't have fuel. In the meantime, flood washed away everything. Since then, huge portion of our lands are getting eroded. This time, it was worst. Our homes have become risky to live in with river eating away the land.
It is so scary to be living near the river. Some of our neighbors are spending sleepless nights. Efforts were made to construct a wall, but they failed. We are worried since the river will not take much time to reach here.
Sunkosh River started eating away our lands since 2010. I lost major portion of my lands this year. From 1 acre, I am left with only about 30 decimal now.
The
river has even washed away my betelnut trees. We have to be always alert when it rains. It is so risky that we have kept some of our belongings in our neighbor's place.
In the meantime, Lamoi Zinka Dungkak administration has retendered the contract to build the wall. The work is expected to begin this December. But a wall constructed by another contractor is complete and is benefiting the people here. For Changadoji, this is Unampim for BBS News.
People in some pockets of the country still do not have access to BBS radio and TV signals due to lack of broadcast towers. One such place is Rike in Samrup Jonkar.
"60-year-old Sherab connects power to his radio the only entertainment here at Rike in Deothangyo. But without BBS FM signal, his radio is always tuned to radio channels from across the border.
Brought to you by your China.
So Sharab and his wife settle with the Hindi song.
We are not able to tune in. I wanted to listen to some local news and some Bhutanese songs. I'm interested to listen to Bhutanese songs, but it is not possible. So I end up listening to Hindi songs.
I wanted to listen to Bhutanese content, but I can't. So I listen to songs from nearby radio stations in India.
The chief engineer of Bhutan Broadcasting Service, Sharab Tharjan, clarified that they need at least 40 more TV or radio broadcast towers to solve the problem. Today, there are 30 towers across the country. Though the company has plans to erect more towers, lack of budget is a barrier. It costs about 4 million yutam to erect one tower. But people can still use satellite dish. Meanwhile, a few of locals here at Rike use DTH. For Kiloanshu in Samrup Jonkar, this is Sangisha Zom for BBS News.
Some people living in Samrup town make extra income by tasseling the fringes of Kira and Rachu. The products mostly come from shopkeepers in border town of Mela Bazar.
Chodin Dema, a private employee in Samrup Jonkar, spends her free time tasseling fringes. A mother of two, she earns 18 yutam for each Kira or Rachu. She tassels 5 Kira in a day and earns about 12,000 yutam in a month. Recently, Chodin tasseled the fringes of 153 company of newly elected curbs. And there is no problem in supply of Kira. Most of the products are from Mela Bazaar. When I get more Kira, I share with my friends, otherwise I tassel it myself. Since my salary is not enough, I tassel every day. With the money earned, I am able to meet all my expenditure. I was even able to let my daughter study at Kelki school for 2 years. I don't want to waste my time doing nothing. So I started earning by tasseling of the fringes, which has been useful in buying vegetables and to meet other expenses. This is where the products come from. Women from across the border weave a kira in 3 days. The supply is non-stop, but the tasseling has to be done by the Bhutanese. For Kilanshu in Samrup Jonkar, this is Sangisha Som for BBS News.
Life has been less forgiving for a 20-year-old man from Wongar. An accident rendered him physically challenged, and in another tragic moment recently, he lost his wife, leaving him as the sole custodian of their 2 children. We bring you a story about the family as they try to come to terms with reality.
Singye Wangchuk with his family led a normal life a mason could afford until fate decided otherwise. An accident at his workplace some 2 years ago left the lower part of his body paralyzed. Since then, Singye and his family have been living in the guest house of the National Referral Hospital in Thimphu. Singye says, despite life being hard, he was happy his wife was there to take care of the children, a 3-year-old son and 9-year-old daughter. But this assurance was short-lived. After his wife passed away recently, the children have been living with him in the orthopedic ward where he is undergoing treatment. The daughter, Tsering Delkar, is in the 2nd grade. Living with her father and a younger brother, she has accepted the orthopedic ward as her home where she studies, does her homework and sleeps. The siblings also take food from the hospital mess.
I'm in this state, so I can't even give good education to my children. People come to help us, but I'm not sure for how long. As my children grow, so will their educational expenses. And in absence of my wife, I'm worried how I will be able to bring them up.
Singh has 6 other siblings, but since they are all in the village leading their own lives, he never thought of sending his children to them. Today, one of his elder sisters is at the hospital attending to the needs of his family. Singh was admitted to the ward from the guest house after he developed bed sores.
We do dressing for the wound and check if he suffers from other infections or not. All we can do is treat the sore, and once that's done, we will discharge him. We have taught him some exercise which he is able to practice, and that's all we can do for him.
While the hospital claims to have done its part, Singh, on the other hand, has his hopes high, at least for now.
Some people say, unlike other physically challenged patients, I'm able to move my legs a bit. They say if I visit hot springs with medicinal benefits, I could recover. But for someone like me to undergo such a treatment, it is expensive and I need a full-time attendant. I haven't been to any such hot springs yet, although I wish to.
For Pasa Sonomongdi, BBS News.
Bhutan can have a chance to participate in field and track events at the 2020 Olympics in Japan. And to prepare for it, an agreement was signed between the Bhutan Olympic Committee and 2 Japanese teams, Yuri Town and Athlete Society, a non-governmental organization.
Through the agreement, Bhutanese coaches and athletes will be trained for the pre-Olympic Games. The Japanese delegation said Bhutanese athletes have the potential to compete in field and track events at the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo, Japan. The Bhutanese athletes will be trained for running, jumping and throw events. Bhutanese athletes registered with the Bhutan Amateur Athletic Foundation will undergo selection in a week's time. The BAF officials said they will be trained by Japanese coaches. At the Olympics this time, Bhutan participated in only 2 events of archery and air rifle shooting. Poop Game for BBS News.
Going by the membership of Bhutan Karate Association, the sport has become quite popular in the country. From 400 members 7 years ago, today it has increased to over 1,000. And as the association marked its 7th anniversary, our reporter Sringzam looks back at the journey so far.
It all started in 2009 when Ugemwachu returned home after completing his studies in India. Then there was no karate club as such. So having learned this sport for 3 years, it fell on him to impart the knowledge to others. He immediately formed an informal club all by himself.
Having so tough time, having so much pain, when others are sleeping, I didn't sleep. When others are enjoying, I didn't enjoy. Because during daytime I have to go for my college studies, and during morning and evening hours I have to practice. So that's why I thought that after struggling so much, if I come to Bhutan and if I don't start and give an opportunity to each and every youth of this country, it will be a wastage on my part.
But managing a club, Ugen says, was not easy as he also had a career with one of the banks to take care of. Yet he persevered. Today the Karate Association has 22 instructors in 8 dzongkhas. It also got affiliated to the Bhutan Olympic Committee recently. In the last 7 years, the association has taken part in various international events and brought home medals as well. The most recent 3rd South Asian Karate Championship, in which Bhutan won 10 bronze medals. But like most other sports associations, Bhutan Karate Association has its own challenges to overcome.
They want the good result. When a child goes for a competition, they should have a gold medal, silver medal. So then it is like, the instructors having tough time, because with limited budget and with limited time provided by the school and parents, we should have good results. So that way I don't think, so you have to change that situation if really sports like other sports or even karate wants to have a good results in the near future.
But all said and done, the association has managed this far. And as they celebrated their 7th anniversary in Thimphu yesterday, they expressed their determination To continue, their actions spoke louder. Sringzam, BBS News.
Bhutan's football sensation Senju Galson will now star in the Premier Football League of Bangladesh. The national team's striker will play for Chittagong Abhani Limited Football Club.
The 20-year-old striker, popularly known as CG7, will be with Chittagong Abhani Limited Football Club for the next 3 months. Verbally, he has been promised of $4,000, which translates to more than 270,000 Newton in a month. But this is expected to increase once he signs the contract papers with the club. Chencho, who has already played for 2nd Division Football Club in Thailand, was recognized by Chittagong Abhani Limited Football Club after his performance in the match against Bangladesh recently.
Even my parents think it is impossible to sustain livelihood by playing sports. But someone has to set an example to prove this otherwise. I have worked and sacrificed enough for football.
For some young national players at home, they have already taken inspiration from Chencho's opportunities.
In the past, it was difficult to earn a living by playing football, but now situation has changed. Even getting selected in the national team has become tough now. Senju Gelson is an inspiring figure for us, since it is a dream for every national player to play for international clubs.
I hope to play for international clubs like Senju Gelson, and for that I have been working hard since my childhood days.
Meanwhile, Chittagong Abhani Limited Football Club, the club Senju Gelson will be playing for, stands second in the ongoing Bangladesh Premier League. Sonam Penjar, BBS News.
That is all we have for you this week. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kili Youngden saying goodbye.